everything is a European. Everything from Europe. First of all, I think that luxury. I don't like very much this word because I prefer to use beauty. So I really realized in my project that I can collaborate with this small company, very smart, very good technical, and they can really do a great job. You can calculate, how many kitchen you have in a tower in a second. It's really, like I said before, I really think that creative part, it's really difficult to substitute.
So Matteo, first of all, I want to thank you that you've come here. We are celebrating, as you of course know, 30 years of Delta Studio and 10 years of Rida. So with this opportunity, I want to ask you the first question. Of course, you know about our philosophy and our new business direction. I want to see, first of all, what does smart luxury mean for you?
First of all, thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. Yes, for me, smart luxury it's very important because in my experience, especially in a big project, when the project is really complicated, we have to take under control many things, and one of the important things to keep under control is the budget. So for hotel, for example, residential apartment, it's very important to keep under control this specific part of the project. But from my side, it's extremely important to maintain the balance between the first sketches, the first ideas, and the freshness, the beauty of the first ideas, and the final realization. So for this reason, I think the key, and I made many mistakes in my career, but now I very clear understood that the key to realize a great project is to set and to select good partners. Good partners means furniture company, bathroom company, ceramic tiles company that really give you not only a product, not only brand, but service. Service is extremely important for us.
My next question is regarding your projects, because we often confuse luxury with expensive, and since you have a lot of experience in this domain, I wanted to ask you, because this interior design world is changing and it has changed consistently all over the past years. How did your project aged over the years, and what is the key component, what is the unique component that still remained in your work that you still apply today in your projects? If you have like a secret ingredient that you consistently apply.
Mm-hmm. But first of all, I think that luxury, I don't like very much this word because I prefer to use beauty. So beauty is something really that move the people, because if you think about the human beings can do a lot of functional things like eating or sleeping, something like that. But one important needs, which is equally important, is the looking for beauty. So, for example, if you think about house, could be a house very functional, but if you don't feel a beauty inside a house,
Personal touch maybe from the designer.
yeah, it's a really correspondence. You feel much better. You feel much better with you, with your family, with your friends in a beautiful place, with maybe a garden, with beautiful furniture. You feel yourself much better. So I think, and this is not always linked with very expensive furniture. So sometimes a very smart solution could create a great balance and could create a great beauty. So I think the scope is to create something which is truly beauty, not truly luxury. Because if you think about it, I have a lot of clients from everywhere in the world. They spend a lot of money in their house.
Doesn't mean necessarily good taste.
Exactly. So
the way that you combine everything in order to get an actual valuable result in the end. And I think that's what our philosophy here at Delta Studio. I don't know if you've heard smart luxury on other businesses that we've partnered with about this philosophy, but I think it's our own philosophy, and this is what it's all about, combining luxury products which look very good, but with adding functionality and very efficient implementation processes, satisfying basically all our clients' needs. Regarding products, because today I think the world evolved in a very strange way, because clients all over the world, I think, not especially in Romania, they have a lot of options. They have a lot of options to choose from. There are a lot of websites, so they come here, speak to one of our agents. He proposed something to them, and they come the next day with, see, I saw this product online, I can order it very fast. What do you think about it? But this product, I think they lack character. They are not high-end, not necessarily high-end, but quality products. They are not well informed. They have a lot of options, and I think your role as an interior designer is to actually maybe educate the client and explain the fact that a lot of options may create confusions. What do you think about this? Is it true, or it is just an assumption?
You talk about education, which is very important, I think. And I give you an example, you know. Some years ago, I went to Doha in Qatar, and I met a client called, one client to do a big towers, a big hotel, 5-star hotel. And this client told me, I don't want any Italian or European furniture. I want everything by China. I want to copy everything by China. Okay? And I said, okay. Then I invite this client many times in Italy, and I invite him to visit the company, to see the mock-up, to touch the furniture.
And so the difference.
And so this guy realized immediately that was a big gap, touching the furniture, touching the kitchen. And so at the end of the day, this tower, and now it's the biggest 5-star hotel in Qatar, everything it's a European, everything from Europe. So I think it's a matter, like you said, of education. So to bring to these people to understand that behind a product, there is a real value. It's not just a brand or just, but the real, if you open a drawers or if you touch the leather, you feel the value of the product.
Do you think that if you're part of a different culture, for example, in Romania, things are different, of course, but your client was from Qatar, as you said, maybe they have a different view about which products should they include in their final design. Maybe they collaborate well with China. Maybe they have a good impression about Chinese products. Not necessarily, they don't know necessarily the quality of the European products, and that's why they might be biased to go to China. And I think the role of an architect here is very important to educate and explain, exactly as you did, to bring him and show the products and show the difference. I think this is very valuable, of course. This industry became very obsessed with renowned brands, like big brands in the industry. And I wanted to ask you whether there is still room for entrepreneurial businesses, small factories to innovate and make something very creative. Not necessarily unique, because nowadays I think everyone copies sort of design from a bigger producer, but there is still room for small businesses, just like our business Dalet. I think I've presented you briefly, to actually bring the same amount of quality, but a much lower price. And I wanted to ask you how your clients might perceive this. Maybe they think, I don't want this, it looks the same as a very high-end product from a renowned, I don't know, designer or product manager. Would they still be willing to buy the product, knowing that it's upcoming brand?
Yes, I think the key, the answer, in my opinion, it's again the service, because big brands, for example, if you ask to customize one product, one catalog product, it's almost impossible, because they have a big production, they have a big brand, they have a big catalog, they have so if you have a client that wants something special, even for not a big project but small project, and wants something special, it's better to go with a company which is not so famous but very good in quality, in technical, in services, and help the client to find some solution. So I really realized in my project that I can collaborate with this small company, very smart, very good technical, and they can really do a great job and a very customized job. I can design something special for the client. The client is very happy because he found, you know, something unique. And this is absolutely not possible with big brands.
So my next question that I wanted to address you is especially something personal, because a lot of clients come here with ideas from platforms like Pinterest, and in my opinion, I don't think that they evolved necessarily in a healthy direction, because most of the ideas are very crazy. And as you said, I think we as a medium-sized business, we can still adapt to those ideas. Do you think that it's a pain point for you, or is that something that you can adapt to, like working with a sort of digital platform that does everything for you? What's your real opinion, raw opinion?
Yeah, but honestly, we are working in our office. We started to work with artificial intelligence, you know, to produce renderings, to produce, you know, the technical drawings and something like that. And to be honest with you, it's a great tools, you know. But I think that this kind of, you know, but that's, you know, for example, Pinterest is a good inspiration, you know, to take some idea. It's a starting point, but it's a starting point.
Most of them aren't necessarily that doable, but
but you're right. It's exactly the starting point because, you know, if you consider all this, you know, kind of system, technological system to serve you, you know, to help you to realize something, I think this is the right way. Because to be honest with you, when I start to design a sofa, a chair, or the interiors of hotel or something like that, I can, you know, put my table a lot of inspiration from everywhere. One point I cancel everything and I start to sketch to find, you know, something different. And I think this is a great point where it's really mysterious. So I don't know what happened when I design a sofa. So I start with something and I said in the sketch, this is the right way. So I continue to make it better, to make it more clear. And the same for the prototype. When I see a prototype of sofa, for example, I said, okay, maybe 2 centimeters less of legs. You can do. I don't know why I said this, but at the end of the day, the product becomes beauty.
I think it's the same approach when you're trying to build an art piece. For example, you cannot use necessarily AI, or you still need the human touch.
It's a really human touch and it's mysterious. I cannot, because if somebody asks me why you said to put the legs 2 centimeters less, I don't know, because I feel it's beauty. It's more beauty like this, but the product change. So I think this point I think is not replicable by the AI. Yeah. It's a really, like you said, the human touch.
It's very important. And you're not the only one from the industry who says that. And I think that the architect job won't be replaced if you are actually doing like product design, as you said, from scratch. And if you're considering your product as an art piece, for example, if you're building furniture and creating the whole design, when I see a very interesting sofa, or not necessarily sofa, like a product which was created from scratch by a very renowned architect, I look at it as I look at a painting or something. Like it's that human touch which is very, very interesting also for the client. But we go into a niche which is a bit more premium. Of course, I wanted to ask you whether there are some architects that, I don't know, from your community, or maybe you just know other markets. For example, in Romania, there are a lot of architects who are trying to be as efficient as possible, do a lot of projects at the same time, earn as much as they can, be as productive as they can. But I think you lose exactly what you said earlier. You lose that human touch, human contact especially. And yeah, I think there are two different categories of clients. What we are trying to target here at Delta Studio, we are trying to please everyone. So if we have special clients, let's say, who has a lot of, I don't know, desires regarding his project, we can adapt, of course, to his needs. But our vision for the future in this also works well with the smart luxury philosophy. It's a bet. We still haven't validated it yet, but it's a bet that we can optimize processes, be as effective as possible, but without losing that human touch. So the architect is still involved in the implementation process, in the design process, creative thinking. So I think it's a mix. So that's what I wanted to ask you a bit of feedback, maybe constructive feedback regarding this.
But I know we spoke before that you are, doing, for example, you invite architect, not many architect every month to do
Groups.
small groups to educate these people, to show them new products, new materials, something like that. That's exactly what you said before, the education, and to show to these people, what is possible. It's a great because
It takes a lot of time, unfortunately, but it's a very valuable initiative and it's starting to gain some results.
yeah, because like you said, if some crazy client go with a Pinterest picture and say I want this, which is not possible, you can bring him to understand maybe you cannot put the real wood in the shower, something like that, and to educate about this kind of thing, not put thousand of material in the same space, but select the right material, maybe few materials, and maybe you spend more in this few material than spend a lot of money to put many materials in a small rooms. This is a kind of education that I think me and also Delta Studio has to do it.
Yeah, we are trying to build our image in the market as a curator. So we collaborate with a lot of architects right now. We are using also Rida's community, but we are trying to build the same thing with our partners, architects, which we are already starting to do business with, revenue. We are trying to promote them, and of course, this is vice versa. They are promoting us too, and I think it's a very valuable asset. We also have a very interesting thing in which we give them free space to create their own ideas and post them on our website. Everything is done with products from our own portfolio, and I think we give them freedom to actually get to know our products, test them, include them in their crazy ideas, and see what's the final concept about. So yeah, I think building a community, I think with Rida, we are around more than 600 architects in our community. With Delta Studio, we are trying to build the same thing, but more business oriented. So yeah, I think it's very, very important to get close to.
Yeah, I think it honestly is also the right time in Romania, because I think the community of design, the interest for design is growing up every year. I remember, I've been here maybe 15 years ago, and it was completely different. Even the city was different, the restaurants, the clubs. And if you visit now Bucharest, it's completely different city. You see, very trendy restaurants, very beautiful space, hotels. So but I think this is just the beginning, because I think a city like Bucharest needs more 5-star hotel, more beautiful restaurant. So I think it's the right time to invite this architect and try to show what you are able to do.
Yeah, of course. And we are doing these sort of events because we are trying to validate our hypothesis, because we are still in the MVP phase. We don't know yet whether they are inclined to actually optimize their processes through our platform, be visible on our platform. But from what we did, we had a couple of events and we gained really good feedback. This is what we are trying to do, maybe with other renowned designers, maybe with you. This sort of a concept signed by a famous designer, this is what we are trying to do with them too. So I think maybe we should discuss after this podcast to actually implement a space in our showroom in order to attract more clients, more architects, test the products, interact, basically physical interaction with the materials. I think it would be very, very interesting. How do you explain it to them? How are you trying to orient them to the best decision, or the most effective decision for advantages? I don't know how to.
So normally it's working like that, because also I made many mistakes in the past, so I learned from the mistakes. Because I understand, I know now that the key to realize a great project, it's the client. Mainly is the client, because if the client has the same vision, the same philosophy, everything will go easy and smooth. if the client has a different style and different vision, it's really impossible to convince him or to create something beautiful. So I think you have really to meet each other. It's like a relationship, love relationships, to to love each others, and to
The bond, yeah, that you have with the client, like that's
like a crush, you have really to, because otherwise it's really complicated. I tried many times.
Sorry for interrupting you, but did it ever happen to refuse a client?
A lot of times, but not because it's not a issue of ego. It's a issue because the vision is different, so you cannot really trust each other's.
Waste of time, maybe.
Yeah. So so I think, but also for your client, the first part is the trust. So if a client trusts in your quality, in your service, and everything can be solved. Otherwise, it's really difficult. If some client is not comfortable with you, has a different vision, it's really complicated to do it. So I really realized that if the vision is great, and then many of my clients became my friends, because we have the same vision. I can define my friends, and I have friends in India because I did the project in India, in US, in Trump Towers, exactly. So I really and these people was amazing, But on the contrary, if you find some people very rigid with the vision, and if you say to them too many materials in one room, and he say no, I want more material. Okay, maybe
They want to be the designer.
Yeah.
They want to switch roles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So regarding our last topic, it's about future and maybe some advice from you for the Romanian community, for us too. I think it will be very valuable. I think that, and it's a hypothesis of ours, that everyone wants a timeless design, which will like last forever. And I think I want to ask you, or giving maybe some examples from a project in which you tried to approach this idea, because your projects, I think, will have the same value in the future, will look exactly the same, will serve the same quality, and I think it's important for you, right? If you can give me some examples. When I looked, I think I looked at, you did the Qatar Business Lounge. I think that's a timeless design, sort of. I think it will look the same in 10 years from now. So is it important for you to, for example, I go again in a different area. When Bugatti is building their machines, their cars, they are focusing on timeless design. They want their car to be the same and look the same and have the same quality 10, 20 years from now. And I wanted to ask you whether this applies in interior design as well when you're building a project.
So it's a very difficult question, to be honest with you, because again, it's very mysterious, So when you start the creative process, I don't think to create something timeless. I always try to think, if I would go in a Qatar Business Lounge, what would you like to find around? So it's my question. It's, if I have to design one bed, I think a bed that really like for my house, something like that. So that's the goal. Then, some of my projects I think are, very timeless touch. Some other projects are not like this. So it's not always like this. But I think from the creative part of view, you have really to think and always try to think to design something that you consider real beauty. That's very important, because otherwise you got many influence from the trend, from the fashion, from which is confuse you. So I think I told you before, I made a lot of research before to do a project, but in one point I cancel everything and I try to concentrate on the white paper, and to start to sketch and to clean the project, to make it clean and to create something that doesn't exist in the market, So if this project will be timeless or not timeless, I don't know yet.
Doesn't matter necessarily. But how would you define beauty? beauty may be different. For example, for me, I perceive beauty different in a different way. Maybe you perceive beauty in a different way. How does a beautiful design look like for you?
For me, I agree with you that the art, for example, there are many kind of art, and they are equally important. You know, some people like Michelangelo, some other people like modern art, some other people and Michelangelo has the same value of Picasso or Mark Rothko or something like that. So I think the style is not important. The important thing is really to create something that corresponds to the human heart. So to create something, especially in the design, it's a balance between functionality and beauty. And for me, this kind of balance is very important. So in my design, I like something, I will say classical, but classical means the balance of among all the parts. So it's very clean, the project, with few materials, with few sign, with few details, you can create something special. That's my way to design. But maybe it's not the only way, there are different ways.
Yeah, of course, every designer has its different approach. But I like these things, and I think the fact that beauty is the most important thing, I think is something from Dostoevsky. He had the same approach about what's the most important thing in life. I think I saw in your presentation too. Yeah, that you sent me. This is different questions, but still regarding the future. So as we discussed in the beginning of this podcast, the fact that AI is evolving so fast, almost exponentially, things will be different and different from each year. I think it will explode. And I wanted to ask you, what will define the value of the human architect in 10 years from now? How do you see an architect like you, or I don't know, what normal interior designer, what will their workflow look like in 10 years from now, considering all these tools that are helping you?
Yes, that's a question, very important because the trend it's really that this kind of tools, very powerful, for sure will reduce the human collaborators, because a lot of renderings they can do it in 2 minutes, or AutoCAD or technical drawings in 2 minutes. The BOQ, bill of quantity, you can calculate how many kitchen you have in a tower in a second. It's really but like I said before, I really think that creative part, it's really difficult to substitute. It's really something that it's going across the time. I remember that I visit in Madrid the Prado Museum, and it was a difficult period for me. And I had a project there, and I have some free times to visit this museum, So I went in this museum and I stopped in a painting made by Tiziano 500 years ago. And it was so beautiful that I start to cry, So I said, this artist is dead and is passed away 500 years ago. But, through all this time, he communicated me a very strong emotion. So this is the real beauty. The real beauty is something, above the trends, above the, the budget, above everything, and it's touching your heart, your soul, that's really important.
I totally agree with you. I think, yeah, basically this is the main differentiator that in 10 years, 20 years from now will still remain the same. As you said, that painting was how many years ago? 500 years ago, and it still impacted you emotionally. I think it's the same with interior design. But of course, these tools help you achieve that result in a faster way, but without losing that human touch. I think that's very, very nice that you pointed it out.
The beautiful things of design, is mass production products. So you can bring beauty inside the everyday life, which is, something beautiful, because a masterpiece like Tiziano or the pyramids or something like that, you can see in one place. It's very monumental. It's big, but you live in your everyday life with a beautiful chair, beautiful table, beautiful wardrobes, beautiful kitchen, and so you feel this beauty in everyday life. So it's really a kind of interesting, level work.
So finally, to end this podcast, I wanted to ask you. This is more oriented to the young architects in Romania who are at the beginning of their career. If you could give them just one piece of advice on how to build a career on substance, not necessarily trends, how should they do?
So first of all, I think it's very important to see inside yourself and to really understand your talent. And I did like this. I was young, 20, 27, 28. I was working with an architect. I quit the job and I opened my office with no clients. So it was really, really complicated, really complicated. Yeah, courageous and a little bit crazy, no money, no family with money, so to support me. So it was really, really hard. But at a certain point, I think you have to give like a feedback from the reality. So at a certain point, one company, I perfectly remember, it was a furniture company. They said, I tried to propose to all the company, some of my drawings, but nobody, care about me because I was young and nobody trusts me. So I went to this company. It was a really famous brand, and I tried to show them, these sketches, and they say is exactly what we are looking for. So and they started the production of this product. So I really said, okay, now I have to be even more courage and to concentrate myself to bring the business. And it was better from them.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
A bit, yeah.
So talent first, and really to have a feedback from the reality is very important, and to really try to focus on the positive things, not the negative things, because otherwise, even now, if I propose 10 products, or 10 projects, there are some clients that refuse my project, and so you have to start again, and try to try to continue and not to quit and never give up.
If it's an appropriate client for you. If not,
It's not, yes.
yeah.
It's really difficult. Yeah, yes, it's difficult.
So this was the final question, and if you want to discuss further, or if you have some questions for me regarding the Romanian market, business-related stuff, I'm free to offer you answers. If not, it was a pleasure, and thank you for being here once again, and can't wait for the event.
Thank you very much. Now, for me, it was a really pleasure to come here. We are living special days because Bucharest now is full of snow, and it's very romantic and beautiful. It's very picturesque. So I'm very happy to be here and to see this new side of Bucharest, because I always came here during the summer. And it's really, and it's always different. When I come here, there is just some spot that are different. So it's a city that's growing a lot.
And you also told about beauty. So this adds a bit on that beauty aspect. Yeah,
Yes.
it's very beautiful.
It's very beautiful. Yeah, very inspiring. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Grazie.